All right, so today we're diving into the next big thing in AI. But we're not just talking about the tech. We're talking about what it means for us, for humans. It's not just about what AI can do, but what it might do to us. And that really forces us to ask a pretty deep question, right? I mean, if AI can just snap its fingers and give us a perfect result, what happens to the journey? You know, the messy, the imperfect, the human part of actually getting there. Okay, so let's get into it. To really get a handle on what these AI agents are and what the risks might be, we gotta start with the AI we already know and use pretty much every day. It's basically a three-step journey. We start with a simple tool, something that just answers our questions. Then we move to a more structured process. And finally, we get to something that almost seems like it has a mind of its own. So that first big leap, it's the jump from being passive to active. Think about it. A model like ChatGPT is passive. It just sits there and answers you based on what it's been trained on. But an AI workflow, well, that's active. It can actually go and do things like check your calendar. But, and this is the key part, a human still has to tell it exactly what to do, step by step. And that brings us to the final, and really the most important step, the AI agent. See, this thing doesn't just follow a script you wrote. Nope, it takes that powerful AI brain, gives it access to tools, and then it figures out the path by itself to get something done. It decides which tool to use, when to use it, all on your behalf. Okay, so now we know what an AI agent is, but honestly, that's just the what. The much bigger question is the so what. It's not about what these things can do, but what they mean for us. And this is where author Simon Sinek points out this massive contradiction that's staring us right in the face. You know how we always hear that life is about the journey, not the destination? Well, when we talk about AI, it seems like we completely forget that. All we focus on is the destination, that perfect, instant result. His whole point is that we don't get smarter or more resourceful because a perfect essay or business plan just magically appears. We grow because we wrestled with it. We struggled to create it. That excruciating journey he talks about, that's where all the good stuff happens. And this obsession we have with perfect machine-generated stuff, it creates this really weird paradox, especially when we try to connect with other people. I'm sure you've seen emails like this one pop up in your inbox. The grammar? Flawless. The vocabulary? Super impressive. And yet, it feels completely cold, totally sterile, right? You just know it could have been sent by anyone to anyone. But now, look at this one. It's casual. Hey, there's even a little typo in there. And what's the effect? Suddenly it feels real. It feels like an actual human being took a second to write it. That little imperfection is exactly what makes it feel more authentic, more trustworthy. There's actually a word for this. It's a Japanese concept called wabi-sabi, and it's all about finding beauty not in that cold, machine-like perfection, but in the things that are a little flawed, a little imperfect, because that's where you see the human touch. But this goes so much deeper than just sounding authentic in an email. The real risk here is that we start outsourcing the very experiences, the struggles that teach us how to be human. Sinek's warning is pretty stark. If we let AI handle all our difficult conversations, how do we ever learn to do them ourselves? I mean, just look at this list. These aren't just nice to haves. These skills are the absolute foundation of every single meaningful relationship in our lives. Think about it like this. Asking an AI to write the perfect apology for you is just a transaction. It teaches you nothing. But fumbling your way through a real, awkward apology with someone you care about, that's where growth happens. They see your effort, you learn something, and the relationship actually gets stronger because you went through that messy process together. So, where does that leave us? What's the answer? Well, it's definitely not to just throw this amazing technology away. Of course not. It's about being way more intentional, more thoughtful about how we choose to use it. And Sinek has this brilliant metaphor for it. He says, sure, use the boat that AI gives you. It's a great tool. It gets you where you're going faster. But you also have to learn how to swim. Because what happens when a storm hits and that boat isn't there? You need the underlying skill. And really, that's the challenge for all of us. The point isn't to use AI to become more like efficient machines ourselves. The real goal is to use it to handle all the boring, mundane stuff so that we have more time and energy for the hard stuff, for the messy, complicated, but ultimately rewarding work of just being human. At the end of the day, as AI gets better and better at being a machine, The real question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we get better at being human? It's not about what the tech becomes, it's about what we choose to become.